Vicky in the chat room actually just pointed out something. Do we really need to spend millions of dollars on the life cycle of the bloodworm because it might have an impact on the economy of Timbuktu? No, we shouldn't. You want a private research group to do that. Let them do it, but don't fund it. If somebody wants to spend money, if I'm just going to use Mark Cuban as an example. If Mark Cuban wants to spend the money on it, that's fine. If he doesn't want to spend the money and nobody else wants to spend the money, then they shouldn't. And it's not up to the government to figure this stuff out. Mike in the chat room asked, with her opposition to this bill, could this be an opening salvo for... Yes. I think Liz Warren is going to run for president, and I think this is going to be part of it. I think this is really going to be part of this. Something else that was very, very interesting is something that a bunch of people picked up on. Ace of Spades is the one who has some commentary on it. I saw, Tea Party News Network, I think, had it too. National Review had it as well. According to Republican Congressman Marlin Stutzman, House leadership reneged on a deal made with him to get his support on the Cromnibus bill. What he said in a statement on Thursday is basically that the Cromnibus bill, over 1,600 pages long, which is, again, a problem with this bill, does many things, but what is most important is what it does not do. It fails to directly address President Obama's dangerous executive action on immigration and fails to include many of the solutions that could have been passed in January with a Republican House and Senate in an open process. Earlier today, I supported the rule because I was informed by leadership that the Cromnibus was dead and a short-term continuing resolution would take its place. I was very surprised and even more disappointed to see Cromnibus back on the floor. The American people deserve better. Well, he also should pay attention more. Because the fact that Stutzman said this, he needs to pay attention more. Now, some people are wondering, and this is apparently from Breitbart, and again, it is Breitbart. They're not as good as they used to be. I heard about the promise from several sources, and Stutzman wasn't the only one to whom it was made. He was just the only one who bought it. So, there you go. Now, whether or not that report is true or not, I don't know. But that would be interesting. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back right after this. We're going to get into the torture report, which my observations on it, I'm going to be honest, some of the folks in the chat, some of the folks who are listening may get a little mad on it, but we're going to take a quick break. Be right back. This is Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. Back after this.
This is the Pint-Sized Pundit, and I am here to tell you that anything Taylor says on Saturday Night Cigar Lounge is his opinion and his opinion only. He does not speak for his employer, his employer's employer, or anyone else. He especially doesn't speak for Liz unless she says so.
This is Liz Harrison. And you know, I have no idea how many times people have told me conservative women can't be sexy. Well, we can prove them wrong. Listen here on Vigilant Liberty Radio, Friday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, the Conservative Feminist Show, where the ladies are kink-servative.
Hi, this is Jason Dibbler, co-host of Q with a View, heard every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on FTR Radio. Right now, FTR needs your help in making the jump into the 21st century through some long-needed equipment upgrades. This is where you, the great and loyal listeners of Great Conservative Talk Radio, can really lend a hand. Visit GoFundMe.com/helpupgradeFTR right now. Your assistance, no matter how small, will help to ensure that FTR can continue to offer some of the best conservative radio on the interwebs. Your donation of $50 gets you up to 60 seconds of airtime on FTR radio 4 times. For $100, your ad will run 10 times, or if you don't want to run an ad, you can have 30 minutes of FTR airtime to talk about anything you want. There are other thank yous for other levels of giving as well, but those are some pretty great offers. We hope you'll consider making a small donation to help keep quality conservative talk radio alive and thriving on the internet. Visit GoFundMe.com/helpupgradeFTR today. Thank you.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com, and you're listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
And back here on Saturday Night Cigar Lounge, here on Vigilant Liberty Radio, I am your host, Taylor Millard. Very happy to have you here. At the top of next hour, we will be talking punk rock, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. We've got Jason Pye from Freedom Works, but is also a massive, massive punk rock fan who's going to be here. We also have Roman Flute, at Roman Flute, who is going to be on as well, talking punk rock. He's been around here in the Dallas area for a while and has been involved in the music scene. And also going to have Eric Grubbs. He is the author of, and I have to look it up because it's called Post, but it's more than that. Post, a look at the influence of post-hardcore from 1985 to 2007. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. I think it's going to be fun. We're going to get into kind of the history of punk, why it's so good, why people enjoy it. And I think that will be a fun conversation. I'm certainly looking forward to it. And you should be too. So that will be fun. And I think that it'll be really, really good. But let's move on to something that is not a fun topic to discuss. And that is the angles on the torture report, or the torture report itself, which was released earlier this week. 528 pages by Dianne Feinstein, followed up with 167 pages of rebuttal from the Republicans. And then another 27 pages from John Rockefeller the Fourth on his alternative views on it. And then the CIA gave a 136-page response. Mike in the chat room actually just said it best. It's a political document. It is a political document. The torture report was a political document. But it should be there are a couple of things that need to be pointed out about this. That some observations that I have, and yes, we are hitting up against the bottom of the hour in the next couple of minutes. So I'll give a couple of comments, then we'll go to break, then we'll come back on the rest of them. The first off is, and people aren't going to like this, but I'll be honest, what the CIA did legally was illegal. Now, the reason why I say that it was legally illegal, has to do with the War Crimes Act of 1996, which was passed by the House and the Senate and signed by Bill Clinton. This is what it says. Whoever, whether inside or outside of the United States, commits a grave breach of the Geneva Conventions in any of the circumstances described in subsection B shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for life or any terms of years or both, and if death results of the victim shall be subject to the penalty of death. The circumstances referred to in subsection A are that of the person committing such breach or the victim of such breach is a member of the armed forces of the United States or a national of the United States. As used in the section, the term grave breach of the Geneva Conventions means conduct defined as a grave breach in any of the international conventions relating to the laws of warfare signed at Geneva in August of 1949. So, based on that, what was done by the CIA was illegal. Based on the law, it was illegal and should not have been done. And I know that there are going to be a lot of people who are going to say, well, what about this one? We'll get into that. We'll get into some of the other situations regarding that, because I understand, I really do, I understand the feelings that people have about this, and it's a ton of strong feelings about this. We've got some comments from CIA Director John Brennan on the torture report. We also got some comments from George W. Bush, which I will admit I stole from Dustin Hoyt from America Our Way. I think he'll forgive me for using his soundbite. But from a legal standpoint, what was done was illegal and should not have happened. From a legal standpoint, what was done should not have happened and was wrong. So let's hit our bottom of the hour break. We'll be back right after this. This is Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. Back right after this, we'll all get more into why this was illegal, why I understand how people support what happened, support the torture, and kind of some of the other reasons why all of this happened. So it'll be right after this. This is Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. I'm your host, Taylor Millard. Back right after this.
A progressive woman once told me that if she was my wife, she'd poison my coffee. I told her if I was her husband, I'd drink it. This is Alan Bordius, host of Their Finest Hour, Monday nights here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
Mr. President, members of Congress, you've been making a lot of noise about taking our guns away. But you might want to review history. 1835, Gonzales, Texas Territory. The authorities wanted to confiscate the big gun that protected that colony. You know what the people said? Come and take it. Because they were willing to fight for their freedom.